I'm live? Question mark. Hello, friends. Happy Friday night. Tonight we're going to be working on the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Clue number 3 for Village Green, and I'm really excited to put this together for you. And we're going to talk about what all of that is, but I've already got a little message from my mom on the sideline that came in before I hit the go live button that said Vicky Wagner wants to talk about starch. And I don't know what that means exactly or what the question really even is, if I'm being completely honest. So, Vicky Wagner, are you out there? And you want to talk about starch? What is your question? I don't know. Let me know in the comments or in the live chat, and we'll see. I'll see if I can answer your question. And you know what the good news is even if I can't answer your question, there are a ton of people here tonight that absolutely can answer your questions. And so we'll rely on somebody to be able to help answer what you're looking for. Mary says, I want your shirt. I know Missouri Star doesn't sell this anymore, but I actually did make a shirt that says press to the dark side, and it's got a bit of an iron on it. It might be in my merch shop, which you can access from the store tab on my my channel, or sorry, getting text messages. You can down below, up there on my website, all the things where you can get merch. Believe the shirt's out there, and if it's not, I will check and make sure that it is there by the end of the weekend. So it looks like Donna is here. We've got Sean here as well. They are my moderators for the evening for, you know what, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We're going to hit the nail on the head because I know people are going to ask me this question. So I'm just going to answer it and then we're going to be done with it. We're not going to talk about it the rest of the night. Is Tiffany okay? Physically, yes. Emotionally and mentally, no. And that's all I'm going to say. She doesn't want to answer any questions. So if, please be cognizant that the family is grieving. They're going through a very trying time right now. And they want a little bit of privacy to mourn and grieve and find their new normal. She will probably be away from YouTube for a little while. I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't know if that means she's going to go live on Sunday or if she's not going to go live for another year. Who knows? Only time is going to tell. And I think she deserves the right to grieve in private. So we're going to give her that. I will see her Thursday night. I'm really excited about that. I am happy that I happened to be in the area, that just everything worked out. And I am going to give her the world's biggest hug from me and all of you. So, that's it. That's all we're going to talk about. That's all I've got. Oh, I do have one more question because everybody keeps asking me this, so I'm just going to put this right out there. Are we doing anything to orchestrate a fundraiser or a giveaway or a donation for Tiffany? And the answer is no, because that is their wish. They don't want anything big organized. They don't want a fundraiser. However, if you would like to send a card or a postcard, those are always welcome. Tiffany loves postcards. You can find her P.O. box in the description of all of her videos, as well as on my community tab and in my Facebook group and in her Facebook group. I think we've shared that everywhere. And if you do feel led to give a financial gift, please let that just be between you and Tiffany. Do not orchestrate a GoFundMe. Do not organize a big quilt drive. Do not do anything big and over the top. If you want to give something, they will accept it. They will appreciate it. They don't need it. They are not asking for it. Just let that be between the two of you. I think that's the best way to give something. Give in private. All right, so that's all the Tiffany stuff. We're going to let that go. We're going to move on and kick off our weekend and have a great time sewing, because this weekend's the last time I'm going to get to sew until this time. Actually, tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, because Monday morning I'm going to leave and I will be in Vegas for the week. So a couple of things about that. Friday night, April 21st, I will not be live. But Donna from Handmade by Ying will be live on her channel at 8 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. So if you're looking for some place to hang out, Donna is your date next Friday night. I will be in Vegas with Tiffany and Eric, and we will not be on camera. We will just be enjoying each other's company and maybe hanging out with a few of you that will be in the area as well. So more to come on that. I will post on social media once we have details. It's going to be Friday. I can tell you it's going to be Friday. I just don't know time and location yet. We got to work all that out. So more to come. I think that's it before we get into the project. The question that Vicki Wagner had is, do starch and best press have any differences? And here's what I will tell you. I don't know, because I've never used starch. I started using Best Press on day one of my quilting journey. What I can tell you Best Press does for me is it gives a little bit of body to that fabric so it doesn't feel so flimsy. It feels a little bit stiffer, maybe like a nice sheet of paper or a heavy sheet of paper, depending on how much you use. It, of course, smells absolutely lovely, gets all the wrinkles out. But I find when I use Best Press on my fabric, I get two benefits. Benefit number one is that the fabric isn't as stretchy. So when you are holding a piece of fabric, and this has taken me a long time to realize, and I still don't know all of the details, but I will demonstrate it for you tonight. Actually, I will grab a piece of fabric and demonstrate it for you tonight, because it's kind of important when we're talking about starching and moisture and working with Puzzle Mystery Quilt Clue. So we're gonna do this test live on air, and you're gonna see for yourself what actually happens. But when you cut a piece of fabric, let's say you cut a 1/4 yard cut with the fabric. So what you're going to have is a piece of fabric that is 9 inches that you cut, and then from selvage to selvage, it'll be like 42, let's just say 40 for easy sake of math, 40 inches. So 9 inches by 40 inches with the fabric from one selvage to the other. When you add steam or starch or Best Press, that fabric is going to shrink in one direction, the selvage ends. So that 40-inch width is not going to be 40 inches anymore. It's going to go down to like 39 7/8 or 39 3/4. You're not going to lose much when you consider how big that piece of fabric is, but it will not stretch on that 9-inch side. I know this, and I'm going to show you. So what ends up happening is it kind of shrinks in just a little bit. That starch adds body to it. So this is where it's kind of the direction that's a little stretchy, and it becomes less stretchy. And when you cut it on the bias, it becomes less stretchy on the bias. So there's one direction where it's a little stretchy, but then when you cut it on that 45-degree line, it is way stretchy. But that starch helps stabilize it a little bit more. The other thing that I find, I'm sorry, Best Press. I got to say Best Press because that's what I use. The other thing that I find Best Press does is it helps reduce the amount of unraveling or fraying I have. Does it get rid of stretchiness and raveling entirely? No, it does not. You're still working with fabric that has weave to it. It's going to happen. You're going to have stretchiness. You're going to have unraveling, but that starch makes it a little bit easier for me to manipulate, long enough for me to take my stitches and do whatever I'm going to do. I still treat it very delicately. I'm not tossing it around my room unless my husband's throwing it at me and we're playing a game, but whatever, you you get where I'm going. So I use Best Press. I want to show you what I'm talking about though with that starch, taking out some of the sizing. So let me grab a fat eighth that I just happen to have on my shelf, and I'm going to try to grab one that has some good contrast here. So I'm going to grab this red because this should show up. This is just a fat eighth of some tulip pink solids. You can see it here. I haven't starched this, and I don't believe the fabric store did either. So what I'm going to do is just cut a little bit of this off. I'm going to try to use a piece. We'll make it like a 3-inch square so we have nice round numbers. I'm going to give you the overhead shot when I do this. We're just going to push my keyboard out of the way because I don't really need that. So what I want to show you is I'm going to use a dry iron to get the wrinkle out so I can do a little cutting. Got to let the iron heat up. This is the salvage edge over here. You can see because it's a little bit fuzzy. You kind of see this is the salvage edge. So this is where the stretchiness is, not too much here. It's selvage to selvage where it's a little bit stretchy. When I size this, when I add steam or starch, this direction is going to shrink, but this direction is not. And I'm going to demonstrate that in just a minute. So, do we get to see your new puppy tonight? Anne-Marie wants to know. Congrats on the new baby. Gosh, I hope not. I hope the new puppy is in the kennel sleeping, but I don't know. I don't know where he is. And that's okay with me because if new puppy, okay, so new puppy, while I'm waiting for the iron to heat up, I will tell you the new puppy is amazing. His name is Akumu, and apparently, thanks to a lovely subscriber, I now know that Akumu is Japanese for nightmare, which totally tracks with my daughter. She named him. Oh, Zoe, you kill me. But the new puppy is, in all ways that Beetlejuice is a boy, this boy is a diva. Yeah, he likes to be coddled. So, gosh, still heating up. He's super cute. He is 9 weeks old now, or will be 9 weeks old on Tuesday. He was born on Valentine's Day. We've already started all the vet rounds. He gets along so well with Beetlejuice. We just got to go through the potty training thing because he is not housebroken. He is not potty trained. So we're doing all that again. But it's kind of like when you have kids, you know, when you have one child, everybody's like, oh, you know, if you're going to have another one, get one now, get through it all together, let them grow up together, all that other stuff. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We never did that with Zoe. We had Zoe. She was a one and done for the two of us. Jason has 2 kids from a previous marriage, but we never had a second one. And so now we understand what everybody's saying. Just bite the bullet and do them all now. Get all of it done now. You don't want to go backwards. So we had not intended to get another puppy, to be honest with you. It was not something we were thinking about, but he needed a home. He needed a good home. My sister-in-law found him, and he got along with Beetlejuice, and instantly where my mind went is, oh, Beetlejuice needs someone to play with to calm down. So that's where we're at. All right, I'm going to cut off a 4-inch square of this fabric, and I'm going to square it all up so that it is exactly 4 inches. Why am I going with 4 inches? Because you will be able to see it on the ruler that I'm using, but also you will be able, this is a size that I can reuse in another project. So I'm going to grab an air-soluble marker that I can use to write on this. And so what I want to do is mark where the selvages are, right? This means I can press on the fabric. This mark isn't going to go away, but because it's air soluble, eventually it will. What are you doing? Oh dear, help us all. Okay, you got to do it in front of the camera if you're going to do it. Okay, never mind. Go ahead, stand over there. You're getting, Zoe's going to play a song for you. Go ahead. You're playing, go ahead. Okay, well, it's unexpected for them because they can't see you. Just pretend. Go. They can hear you when you play. They can't hear you when you talk. Come on. Okay. All right, shut the door, please. Thank you. All right, so I am marking where the selvage ends are on either side, just like this, and I'm drawing a line. And the reason why that's important is because these sides is where I'm going to see the shrink come. I'm going to turn this around and square it up to 4 inches. Now, because this is not a water-soluble pen or a friction pen, I should be able to press this with some starch, and those marks should still be there. All right, let me give you that overhead shot. So you can see this is selvage end, this is selvage end. There we go. And I just want to demonstrate for you when I put my ruler on here, maybe this was bad to do it that way, but when I put my ruler on here, this is 4 inches exactly. I'll even zoom way in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. This is oh, nope, way up here. Okay, 4 inches exactly. 4-inch mark, 4-inch mark. I'm going to add sizing to it, and this is going to shrink. So this is going to stay 4 inches. This is not going to be 4 inches. So here we go. There's my little square. Put some moisture on it. Grab my little iron. Some of those markings might come off just a little bit because the air moving across it. Yep. I wanted to double check because I didn't want to be wrong on camera, but I'm not wrong. So here's my square. There's that line. Remember, I said this way it's not going to change, but this way it will. So when I lay my ruler on here, do you see how it is now? And it's not even a straight line. It's got a little bit, it's taken off some less up here and some more down here. Down here, it's a whole 1/8 of an inch. But it is still exactly 4 inches going from here to here. Do you see that? Let me zoom you back out. This is why every time I pull up your Cotton Cuts package and I work on my clue, what's the first thing I say? Do not starch, do not add moisture, do not do anything other than a hot, dry iron to your fabric. You're going to lose up to 1/8 of an inch off of your cut when you add that moisture from the selvage size. And that is very relevant for tonight's project because we're going to be working with those die cut pieces and you don't want to mess with them. These were treated with a hot dry iron. There was no sizing introduced before Cotton Cuts ran the pieces through the die machine. And so if you add starch or steam or best press at this point, before your quilt top is all sewn together, you're going to struggle when it comes to having everything come together nice and perfectly. So please do not starch. Please do not add moisture. Oh, may the 4th be with you. Just ordered. Missouri Star has a new shirt. May the 4th be with you. Awesome. 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 Judith says she is awesome. Would like to hear more. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Probably have to see if, yeah, well, my mind's thinking about like uh-oh, the song, what is that going to do to my channel? So I think I got to go in and claim the license for that song so that YouTube doesn't get upset with me. So I'll do that after the live stream. All right, Cotton Cuts, Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Clue 3. Guess what? If you are looking to get on board, this is the end. Like, you need to order now. If you haven't ordered already, you might not be in luck. I would go over tonight, make sure if you're thinking about getting this, get your package. What is the Puzzle Mystery Quilt? Well, let me walk you through this before I start. This will be the last time I say this because there won't be any signups. It'll be the last time I say this for a couple of months anyway. So it is a block of the month program. It runs for 10 months, and every month you get a sheet of instructions as seen here and a set of die cut pieces as seen here. These die cut pieces, as I just talked about, do not go through any sort of sizing. So it's very important that you treat them delicately. You don't introduce any starch, you don't introduce any steam, and you just work with them with a dry iron. If you feel like you absolutely need starch in the seam, Donna from Handmade by Ying taught me this trick. I knew of this product, I never really used it, but as I've seen people starting to use this in other areas like FPP or the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt, these Acorn precision piecing products, these are great. This is a great way to add starch to just your seam to get that seam really nice and flat without adding any sizing to your entire block and having that shrinking problem. Every month you're going to get a sheet of instructions that will show you, as I come down here, all of the pieces that should be in your pack and then what your clues are going to look like when it's all put together. In month number 1, you're going to get a little pamphlet that shows you what your colorway is. On the back of that, you have your fabric key. You're going to want to hold on to this or take a picture of it so that you don't, if you lose it, you know what you're working with. And then inside, all sorts of information. And I promise you, they're going to tell you not to starch on those instructions. So we're going to flip this over, and on the back side you'll have all of your instructions to put together the clues that are shown up here, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Village Green, I am getting a notification that Village Green has officially closed, and the next sign up will start May 26th at 7 a.m. So thank you for your interest, but too late. You can't sign up for this one in this colorway anymore, but mark your calendars because May 26th is when the next Puzzle Mystery Quilt will launch, and I've heard that that one's going to be a lot of fun, so you're not going to want to miss out on it. So I'm just going to dive in and get started. All right. Here we go. These are all of my fabrics. I got to tell you, I am loving the colorway that I chose this time. I am working with Begonia. And by the way, if you watched me last month, you saw that I was missing a couple of pieces towards the end of the clue. And I did fill out the form on Cotton Cuts website. They sent me the replacement pieces, and my clue 2 is now complete. So to start with, I'm going to lay this out so that you can see what my colors are. Kind of put this over here. We'll move this out of the way so this can just kind of hang out up there a little bit. Just like that. Okay. So I need a fabric F square, and because I like to roll with the punches, I did not check to make sure that I have all of the pieces that I need for this month's clue. Let's hope I do. We'll find out together. So we're going to make 4 of these units, and essentially we're doing like an economy block or a square and a square. We're going to take our fabric F, and that's going to go in the center, and on the 4 sides is going to be a fabric C triangle. Now fabric C is this sea foamy green, which I saw earlier right here. And when we're checking, these should all be the same size. They are. These are actually half square. Oh, wait, hold on. Yep, they are. These are actually half square triangles. And the way you can tell the difference, I can actually show you 2 of them here. And I've got some good contrast on this dark blue. The half square triangle units have a point at the top, whereas the quarter square triangle units have a plateau. I don't know when that's really going to come in handy, but just kind of keep in mind when you're dealing with, anytime you're dealing with these quarter square triangles, a lot of times it's because you're going to use this to build out a flying geese unit, whereas this is just going to give you that nice whatever, you know what I mean? All right, so it's going to give you that nice 90-degree point. So we're going to do this 4 times. So I like to get all of my fabric organized so that I don't have to think while I'm doing it. So I am going to create 4 piles of these little triangles. 3, 4. And then I'm going to put all my squares in the middle. That way I can just pick up and sew without being like, wait, what step am I in? How many do I have left? Did I do the right number? It allows me to pay more attention to the chat while I'm sewing. And it also helps me know what I might be missing before I get started. So that's 3, 2, sweet. I have the right amount. That makes this quilter very happy. When I am building out an economy block or a square and a square using the die cut pieces from Cotton Cuts, I want to do opposite ends, press those out, and then do the other 2 opposite ends. So I'm going to pick up 1 square and 1 triangle, and I'm going to lay them right sides together. And because I am using batiks, there really isn't a right side or a wrong side. And I'm just going to make sure that those raw edges are nice and lined up. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I will tell you, you do what is right for you. Everybody is going to do what everybody's 1/4 inch is different. And so you can choose to sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch or a true 1/4 of an inch or a generous 1/4 of an inch or whatever your seam allowance is. Just be consistent. I am sewing with what is probably a slightly scant 1/4 of an inch, but I find that gets the best results for my puzzle mystery quilt pieces. I have been taking the time to stop and square up the smaller pieces before I get the whole clue put together. Is that necessary? No, not really. You don't have to do that. I've done several of these where I've not done that. But this time I want to be super careful, and I just want to be very meticulous. And I've actually even been collecting, if I can find that little jar, I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. I have actually been collecting in this cute little wine cup all of my shavings off of my quilt from doing this. Now, I did get a comment from somebody in month 1 when I did this. They said, please don't sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch. Please sew with just a true 1/4 of an inch, and then you won't have to square down your pieces. But here's what I found. When I sew with a scant 1/4 of an inch, I only usually have to square down on the first couple steps. And then after that, everything is absolutely perfect, even with that same seam allowance. I don't know why it's like that for me. It just is. So this is what I have found works for me after doing several of these puzzle mystery quilts. You don't have to do it this way, but this is what gets me the best results. I hope that makes sense. Oh no, it stopped sewing. Did I run out of bobbin already? Well, I did bind a couple of quilts. I sure did. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm also using my left compensating foot on here, so maybe this is also a good opportunity to put my normal foot back on, just so everything's lined up the way I like it to be. Sean says, great tip, Becca. I didn't do that on clue 1 and realized yesterday that I had done part of it wrong and had to bring out my best mate check. Oof, lots of grease in this one. Greetings to one and all from Las Vegas. Hello, Susie. I will see you next week. I will be in Las Vegas, and I'm going to be at So Yeah on Friday. I just don't know what time yet. Oh, my nose itches. All right, let me get my next bobbin out. I'm gonna wind my bobbin up, put a drop of, totally dropping the bobbin here. Heather says, everyone has a different 1/4 inch. Everybody's machine is slightly different, even if it's the same brand and model. No judgment from me. Absolutely. That's what I find too. Everybody's 1/4 inch is just slightly different. And the best way to make sure that you are getting the results that the pattern says is just to take the time to measure afterwards to see how you're measuring up to what the pattern designer said you should be at. And you know what? Worst case scenario, you find after a few pieces that your 1/4 inch is absolutely bang on and you don't need to take any threads off. And then you know what? Good on you. But it doesn't hurt to check. Okay. Drop of oil. Yes, I can do the things. I promise I can do the things. All right, drop of oil in there. And then because I did just put a drop of oil into the bobbin area, which is the only area that I should be adding oil to my machine, at this point in time, I'm going to run a piece of scrap fabric through the needle just to pick up any oil that might come up. So far, none. Although the foot is a mess. Let me clean that off. But it's a mess with dust, not grease, so that's good. All right. I'm going to come back over here, finish sewing what I started, still with that scant 1/4 inch. Why are we not sewing now? I just gave you the oil. I just gave you the oil. You don't want to play? Listen, Bubba. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that happen before. The thread came out of the bobbin. I must not have had the thread into the bobbin the right way. All right. Clicked in. Test sew. All right, we've got a stitch. Now we'll do our real fabric. As if that wasn't real fabric. And there we go. Cool. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I forgot what side I was working on. Hello, McFly. Was it this side? Yeah, it was this side because there's 4 over there. Cool. Even changing your feet can throw off your 1/4 inch. Don't ask how I know. Yes, I hear you. Hello, Natalie. Welcome to the chat. All right, now I'm going to press this out. I will square all 4 of these up after I make all 4 of them. And I'm going to try and do a little bit of assembly line, but I just want to show you what the step should look like. So I'm going to set this over here. I'm making 3 more of those. And the way I'm going to assembly line sew it is to work on 2 sets of opposite sides first. I'm going to chain piece them. And then I'll flip this. I said I'm going to chain piece. Let's do it the way I said I was going to be. Jojo said, that's me. Thread is not in the bobbin. Keep trying to sew. You guys, I finished over this week. I finished the kaleidoscope of stars, at least the center of it. I think I'm going to do some borders, but I finished putting together the quilt according to the pattern. I still have some work that I want to do, but I bring all of that up because when I was attaching the last row to the quilt, I literally was air sewing the whole roll after like 2 or 3 inches, and I had no clue. I wasn't listening to the sound of my machine. My machine sounds different when it's sewing with no bobbin thread. I was just like da 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 da. I had everything pinned and clipped, and as I got to those areas, I was taking them out. I'm like, oh, this is the last seam. Oh, I'm so happy. This is the last seam. And then I stood up, and like 98% of that last row was just flapping in the wind. I was like, oh my goodness. At which point I just got up and walked out of the room. I will say that is the one feature that I do miss not having on my Juki is the, hey dingus, your bobbin is getting a little low. You might want to consider stopping while you're ahead. Although, if I'm being completely honest, with my baby lock that has the alert that the bobbin is running out or has run out or whatever the case may be, the baby lock would be like, the bobbin's getting low. The bobbin's getting low. Hey, dingus, the bobbin's getting low. And you know what I do? Snooze, 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 and then go, oh, I ran out of bobbin. So it's like when you have the alarm clock in the morning and it goes off, you're like snooze, 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 and then you oversleep and then you're mad because you didn't wake up. It's the same thing. Same thing. Katrina said, I've done that before. Brenda said, oh, Becca, I'm so glad you can make this, you make this same mistakes as I do. I think we all make those same mistakes. If somebody tells you that they don't make those mistakes, I would love to have an honest conversation with them, because I am sure that they are not perfect. Maybe they produce things that look perfect, but I promise you, they have their struggles just like we do. Katrina said, like today. I've done that before, like today. Debbie said, I just turned it off on my Janome. It was so annoying. See, like that, I probably would never use it. I'd be like, oh, okay, sounds good. I ran out of thread. Most of the time, I'm not doing a huge game, and so it's okay. But once in a while, once in a while. Also, I want to make sure that, I don't know what I was going to say, but I do know that my husband is playing computer games with his friends in his office. And because it is a game night on the computer with the boys, he made a pot of coffee before the live stream. And I walked out into the kitchen and I saw he made a fresh pot of coffee, and you better believe I grabbed some. Yes, ma'am. Try accepting a 7 a.m. meeting and showing up at 7:30 thinking you're a champ for coming in early. Linda, oh, you poor dear. All right, now that I've got those two sides on, we're going to do the sides. We've got the top and bottom, and now we're just going to assembly line sew all of these. What I'm looking for here, by the way, because I did sew this with a scant-ish 1/4 of an inch, these notches should line up exactly with the sides of the triangle if everything's lined up perfectly. They're not, because I had a smaller than normal seam allowance, or maybe my squares were just slightly bigger. That's okay, it doesn't matter. So what I'm just going to do is make sure that I've got them evenly distributed. I've got them in the center, and you could always use that trick where you fold them in half to find the center. You know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to wing it, because chances are I'm going to have to square up a little bit off of this when it's all said and done. Stitching Crazy said, those are beautiful batiks. Yes, they are, right? Like, I'm really happy with this one, and I even splurged on this one. So this is going to be a size large, which is going to be like 72 by 72. I splurged and bought the optional extra border kit and 2 oops packages of this, so that I could grow the size of this quilt just a little bit. My friend Ian, you'll have to check him out over on his channel, Off Kilter Crafter Ian. He is another ambassador for cotton cuts for the puzzle mystery quilts. He does excellent pre-recorded, edited video tutorials rather than a live stream sew. But he's a very tall gentleman. He's a little over 6 foot, I think. I want to say like 6'4", 6'3", something like that. But he's a very tall gentleman. And for that reason, he has shared on his channel before that he likes to add additional borders to his puzzle mystery quilts so that they become usable for him. So this year, this one, I'm going to do the same thing, because my husband is 6 foot. And Yeah, I just want to make it a little bit bigger. So that's what I'm going to do. By the way, if you haven't already, all of my friends that are moderators, and I might have to update the command a little bit, so forgive me if a couple people are missing, but my friends that are moderators have their names in bold blue. And most of them, my mom does not, obviously, but most of them actually have a YouTube channel of their own, and they would love it if you check them out. So if you do explanation friends in the chat, 6-2, yeah, that's right, Candy. Sorry, I was off an intro too. If you do explanation friends in the chat, it'll give you the commands for all of them. And if you just put that command into the chat bot will give you a link to their social media. You can check them out. And then if you like what you see, you can subscribe. And if you don't have to subscribe. But you should subscribe. I'm not telling you what to do, but subscribe. Oh, goodness. I've got the giggles a little bit. Giggle belly. Do you know what you will use as a backing? For this one, no, not yet. I like to live dangerously and pick my backing when it's time for it to go on the long arm, unless it's a very special quilt. So like the line work challenge that I did with Tiffany, Teresa, and Ian, we all chose a line work layer cake, and there's one specific print from the line work that I really loved, and they had that as a wide back, and so I was like, ooh, that one. And so I bought a wide back of that specific print, but normally I just kind of wing it. And my trick is, this is cheating, but it allows me, I'm finding it allows me to get quilts done faster rather than having a large backing stash, seriously, rather than having tons of fabric for backing. I have realized I have a long arm, and what I love is 108s because then I don't have to piece a back. I can just load the back onto the long arm and I can go. I can just put it on there and do what I need to do. That makes me a whole lot happier than piecing my fabric together. So I've also realized, unless I want something special on the back, neutrals are your friend. Grays are wonderful for the back. Or if there's a color that I have in my stash quite a lot of, like these teals and aquas, having a bolt of 108 in some sort of a basic for the teals and aquas, it's pretty much going to complement the quilt in some way because I work with that color a lot. And so what I have started doing is I'll pick up a 108 of some gray, a 108 of maybe some cream because that usually works, and a 108 of teal or an aqua because I really like that color, or a teal or an aqua or a turquoise or something, and that usually works. And those are kind of my go-to. That's it. Oh, sorry. My mic was rubbing on my shirt when I was bending. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. There, that should be a little bit better. I'll put it up there. How much are the puzzle quilts like the one you were using? So I don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure one of my friends could let you know the exact prices. And you can always go to Cotton Cut's website and it'll tell you there's a small and there's a large. I will tell you, I think the large is like around $25 or $30 and the small is less than that. So yeah. Katrina says, I love wide backs. Before we moved to Florida, I lived 15 minutes from Backside Fabrics. It was wonderful. I still shop there online. I wonder why I've not gotten the PMQ Clue 3 candy. I don't know, but fill out the form on the website. Let them know. Go into the Facebook group. Tell them you haven't gotten it. Maybe they can track it down for you. Thank you, Sean. The small is $19.50 a month and large is about $28.50 per month. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Nancy, Gus, you are absolutely right. I would contact Cotton Cuts. Yes, Natalie, there is a huge selection of 108s now compared to a few years ago. See, I moved this down too far. I put it right here. and it was rubbing my shirt, but I wanted it so I wasn't hitting it when I looked over here. All right, I am going to look in this. Aha! Oh, this, square it up to 6.5. So I'm going to grab my 6.5-inch ruler, and I'm just going to tidy these up. Shelly says, my clue number 3 just arrived today. It took a week. Hello, John Sheridan. Hello, hello, hello. So what I'm going to look for when I'm squaring this up is just making sure that these points all around the 4 sides have about 1/4 of an inch. They do. And now I'm just going to slice right through. And then after I do this, I won't have as much to cut off. You'll see as we're going that the amount that I'm trimming when I square up becomes less and less every step of the way. It's the first time that I clean up that I have this issue. I didn't realize that until I've done multiple of these, so. Sweet. Hello, Lizette. Welcome to the live stream. You missed the fun demo at the beginning. You'll have to go back and watch that. We saw fabric shrink before our very eyes. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, Natalie Schumacher from a gray, wet autumn on Saturday morning in South Australia. It's so funny that you're in autumn and we're over here just starting to get the warm weather in spring. Would you like that warm weather back? I would. I don't like cold, wet. Actually, I like the cold now that we have a fireplace because it's kind of cozy to sit in the family room with a fireplace going. I love your shirt. Do you sell these? I do have a shirt that says Press to the Dark Side. It's on my merch shelf. It's also, I do have a link to my merch shop on my website, so Becca.com, if you'd like to check that out. But this one I do not sell because this is the one that Missouri Star had several years ago. And I heard that they have one that says, may the 4th be with you, like the 1 over the 4, like for 1/4 inch. And I definitely want to get that shirt, so I'll be hopping over to check that out sometime soon. All right, those are squared up, and these are going to go into my dibs jar, which is where I'm keeping all of my cutoffs from this entire quilt to prove a point that squaring up matters. But hey, listen, don't worry because this still isn't going to be perfect, and I can already show you in clue 2, I've already lost my points on a couple of things. So I am taking this step, and it's still not going to be perfect, so don't stress. But this step will make all of those pieces go together a little bit easier in clue 10 when we put the whole quilt top together. All right, let's move on to step 2. We're going to take our fabric D 1/4 square triangle, this bad boy. We're going to make 4 of these. So let me count out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that is a very odd question, Jewel. Could you tell me how many square feet your sewing room is? It's like, it was my garage, which was like 20 by 20. So is that like 400? It was a 2-car garage. Normal size 2-car garage. 4 of those fabric Ds, and then we need fabric B, which is this, to put on either side. We need the small ones, not the big ones. So we're going to need 4 for each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're welcome. Earworm. Sounds like Pat Sloan has May the 4th Be With You merchandise on her channel as well, website, so check that out too. Catherine says, I just used my Martelli rotary cutter for the first time last night. wow, it's great. Wow, I agree with you. Oh, May the fourth shirt is by Kate Spain, and I got it from her website. Thank you. I'll have to go check that out. I love Kate Spain. And that would explain why Pat Sloan has them, because Pat Sloan and Kate Spain, I believe, are good friends. All right, so to make flying geese units, we take our two half square triangle units, which I am going to show you just like this. They are in opposite corners, and we take our quarter square triangle that has the plateau. Remember, half square triangle units have the point, the quarter square triangle has the plateau. And we're going to put this together. I like to build out one side, press, and then come in and do the other side. So when I do that, I'm going to take one of the half square triangle units and one of the quarter square triangle units, and I'll just show you down here for easy demonstration. I'm going to take the long edge of the half square triangle unit, and I'm going to line it up with the short edge of the quarter square triangle unit, right sides together. And I should find that these little notches on the small triangle line up with the notches on the big triangle. But if those don't line up just absolutely perfectly, the most important thing is that you have it lined up down here and along here if you can. So worry less about the notches, more about the raw edges if you have to. And then you're going to take your seam just like that. It is a great size for a sewing room jewel. And I'm going to flip this over with my hand, and I'm going to make the other one that goes with this. I'm going to put the other side on so you can see what I'm building out, and then I will assembly line sew the other three. I'll give you the demonstration first. So I did the one side. Maritza, thank you so much for subscribing. That means the world to me. You are a doll. I love it. Thank you. And now this side we're going to sew. I don't know why I'm going at snail's speed. I just am. I'm cracking up. Your garage is half the size of my entire apartment. Gotta love New York City. Aw, Lily. You know, funny enough, I took a trip to New York City around 2000, 1999, something like that. And the suite that I went with my ex's family, and they had a bit of money. So we stayed on Fifth Avenue in a very nice hotel, and the suite that we stayed in was bigger than my apartment in Detroit. So there's that. Flip it around. Michigan gal, great state. This may be a repeat question, but what is on the bed of your Juki? A tool holder? So this I got from the folks that made my clappers. And if you do exclamation clapper in the chat, you will get a link to their Etsy store. They hand make all these wood items. And I told them when I collabed with them, they gave me a clapper or two for free. I bought one, and then they gave me one for free. And I showed everybody what they made, and a bunch of you bought it. So you guys helped me get my big 12-inch clapper for free. So thank you for that. Anyway, they were asking me if there were any tools that I would like. I was like, you know, I would love a tool rest. And so I don't know if they sell these. It is from Hard Rock Woodworks on Etsy. You can go look them up, buy something, and tell them So Becca sent you. And if you want one of these and they don't have it, message them and ask them if they would make one for you. They can make them single or double. I've had both. It's just kind of like a little pen rest. And so what I do is I keep two tools in the bed of my machine. It used to be a seam ripper, but I'm leaving the seam ripper in my Carousel tools because that is foreshadowing if I have it close enough to my needle and I don't want to use it. So I'm going to keep it away. So right now I've been doing a lot of FPP, and this precision piecing pen is really handy for that. And then also I have found with FPP and a few other things there, especially like binding and stuff, I'm using a stiletto more. And I think somebody actually sent me this one. It's from Jill Lily Studios. I've got a few, but this has been the one that I've been going to because it just has a little bit more substance down at the end. And so both of those fit nicely on my tool rest. I just leave that right in the bed of my machine. So if you ever are curious, that's what it is. It's always there. And if you don't see it there, it's because it's just like right up here out of the way because I had too much bulk going in the machine, but it is always close by. That is a go-to tool that I highly recommend. Everybody should have one. Bye, Shelly. See you later. She said, I've got to go for now. Everyone take care. All right, now that I have stitched the one side, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to press all of these over. You can finger press and then attach the other side of your flying geese unit, but I do like my pieces to lay nice and flat. So I take this step to press them with iron before I add the other side. Woo woo! Pam Lacey says, I got my Cotton Cuts Village Green pieces today. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. That's awesome. Way to go. All right, now I'm going to do these on the other side. Question, Becca, does your mom use a thimble when hand sewing? If yes, how does she figure out which size to get? I don't know, Mom. If you're still in the chat, do you use a thimble? I don't think you do. And also answer this in the chat when you pop in your answer. If you don't use a thimble, is it because you don't like the thimble, or because you don't have a thimble, or because you have a thimble but you don't have one that's properly sized? I feel like you don't like the feel of them, but we'll see what you say. My Cotton Cuts clue came in yesterday. I love begonia. All right, Susie. Are you doing the large or the small, Susie? Pumpkins Patchwork. Hey, y'all. Hello. I will be in Detroit, by the way, around Memorial Day weekend. And I will be in Chicago Memorial Day weekend. So Mom and I are going to take a road trip up to Detroit the Tuesday before Memorial Day. We'll be pulling in Tuesday evening before Memorial Day. We have plans with my sister for Wednesday evening. And then Thursday, I am going to pull out and go to Chicago. I will be in Chicago until Sunday. And then Sunday afternoon, I will be back in the Detroit area. So if anybody wants to grab a cup of coffee in Detroit or Chicago, let me know. Send me an email. That's the best way to get hold of me. All right, so now that these flying geese units are done, we're going to take a look, and it says to square them up to 6.5 inch by 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to check and see if I need to clean them up. As I expected, they are spot on at the 3.5 inch, just about. And I do have just a little bit on the sides to clean up. So I'm going to tidy here, here. Oof. I wasn't going to cut towards me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. In there. And then I'm just going to hop over here. I'm going to put these in my dibs cut just like this. And now I'm going to square these up a little bit too. When I square up a flying geese unit, what I like to do, and I didn't do it on this one, but I'm going to do it here, is I like to find the 45-degree line on my ruler and lay it on that seam that goes between the two pieces of fabric. And then the next thing that I do is look at this point to make sure that I've got 1/4 of an inch here. I did not do that here. You can see I've got like 1/8 of an inch, but that's fine. I'll just lose that point when I put it together, but it is the right size. So I do that first, and then I'll clean up along the right side and across the bottom. Oh, and then I also want to make sure that the fabric is coming down to the size that it needs to be squared up to. And then I'm going to flip it around and clean up the other two sides. Boom. Bam. Put it upside down, put the 45-degree line on that seam. Thank you. Words, hard, difficult. Find the 1/4 inch mark, put it right there. Find the 3.5 inch mark, clean up the right and what is technically the bottom of the flying geese unit. Set that aside for my cup. Turn it around. Anybody else singing in their head? Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Oh no, just me? Okay, sounds good. You're welcome. And we'll push that out of the way. And then we've got one more. What do you do with the small scraps? These, I am literally just collecting for decoration. You're welcome. Because there's really, I mean, you could probably put them outside for the birds or put them in stuffing for a pet bed, which maybe I will actually do. But I want to see how many of these I collect over the course of an entire quilt, just because I'm curious. If Mom isn't here, there are many different styles of thimbles as well as sizes. Measure your finger like you would for a ring and try different ones and different fingers too. There you go. Candy says, Becca, looking forward to you coming up. Awesome. Mom will be with me, so maybe we could plan. I don't have anything for Sunday evening. And Mom will be with me. And my sister will be out of town because her husband races cars, and they'll be at a race for Memorial Day weekend in Ohio. So maybe what I'll do is I'll find a place downriver where we can meet. And if nobody shows up, Mom and I will just have a wonderful dinner out with maybe my aunt. Maybe she'll come with us too. And if people do show up, then great, we'll have a blast. So make sure to email me if you're interested in a meetup Sunday night in the Detroit area, Sunday before Memorial Day. All right, so now I've got my flying geese units, my square and a square units. Now we're going to move on to step 3, which is take my A square and my E triangles and kind of build out this other thing. I don't know what the name of it is. I'm just going to show you what to do. So I only have one set of squares left. Fortunately, that is fabric A. We're going to make 4 of these units. So I need to make sure I have 4. Cotton cuts, come on. I only have 3. I should have 4. Okay, so we're going to do this on the fly. We're going to do 3 of them. And I'll have to wait to build out the 4th one until my missing piece comes in. This is the second of 3 clues that has been missing pieces. Yeah. All right, we'll get through this. So this is how I can't build anything out onto the 4th one because I don't have the 4th one. And I'm going to have to start over from that point. So we're just going to build and we're just going to go on. Fabric E is this fabric. We need 2 triangles for either side. 1, 2. I should have 8 of these. Hopefully 3. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. So these two will be left for the missing square. Now, I actually do have an oops kit, and I could go into my oops kit and cut this piece. But if I do that, it's going to reduce the amount of cutting that I could use those oops kits for. I would rather use my oops kit to recover from a mistake that I made, not from fabric that I'm missing. So I don't need to make this fourth unit. I'm just going to set these aside. And when my missing square comes in, I will play catch up and we'll get back on track. But yeah, that's disheartening, but we'll get through it. All right, so what we're going to do is put these triangles on either side of the square. Let me demonstrate with one, and then I'll build out the other two instead of the other three, because I only have fabric for two more rather than the three more that I need. So I'm going to take the square that I have, and I'm going to take the triangle units, and I'm going to lay them out so that the short edge is alongside the sides for the square, and the long edge is kind of making this long continuous piece. We're going to attach one side here, just like this. Karen says, I'm in St. Clair Shores. Look under your ironing board. Somebody said, nope, nothing there. No, nothing there. See? And I didn't move my fabric from anywhere else. It was all stacked nicely from being cut. I mean, I get it. I know when you're messing with fabric and you're fingering through this, sometimes it can be really hard to miscount. It happens to me all the time. I'm just a little disheartened because it feels like this keeps happening to me lately. So I can't hide it from you because I'm on a live stream. It is what it is. But I will say, fortunately, I have had a really good response. Whenever I fill out the form, if I'm missing a piece, they get it in the mail to me right away. So if you want to prevent that frustration, my advice to you is don't sew it on a live stream. But when you get your packet, pull out all the pieces, look at the instructions, see what it says you should have, take inventory of all of your pieces, and then if you don't have everything, fill out the form right away. You'll get your pieces, hopefully in the mail very, very quickly, and you can do some of it or just wait until it all comes or whatever works for you. They are responsive to those forms. All right, so I am building out this piece. I need to make 4 of those. So I'm going to set this aside because this is going to go for the square that's missing, and I'm just going to build this out 2 more times. You want to be very careful about the orientation of your fabrics. You want to continue this long diagonal seam here. Good night, Sean. Thank you for coming. It feels a little weird to be doing it this way, but I promise you that is the correct way to do it. So I'm going to do both of those. I will press both of them, then I will sew the triangle onto the other side for both of them. Yep, Louise says, short one again. It's that batik fabric. It's so hard to tell how many are there. I've sewed 3 pieces together instead of 2. Hey, I've done that too. I have done that too. And I'm like, crud, there were 2 pieces there. Yeah. I know it's hard to finger through them, but it's hard. That's all I'll say. It's hard. Okay, here we go. I will say, even with the missing pieces, I still really enjoy doing the block of the month. I still enjoy the puzzle mystery quilt. There's still a lot of fun to do. It's neat to see the quilt kind of being built together. I love the fact that the pieces are pre-cut for you. They're a blast to do. So don't let a missing piece here and there stop ya. Give it a try. And just know that if there's a piece missing, they'll make it right. All right. There's 2. And there's 3. Like I said, we won't be doing the 4th one. So what I'm going to do, just to simplify things, is I'm going to take one of the pieces from each of the other 2 units that I put together. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll take that one. And we'll take this one. I'm just going to set all these aside because I'm not going to be able to build out 4 clues tonight. And that way I'm not going to get confused. So I've got these. And now I've got these, and it says in the next step, we're going to take our D and B fabric, which, surprise, D is the seahorse and B is this one, which are all we have left. I'm going to take one of each of them and put them in my pile for my 4th clue when that replacement fabric comes. And we're going to join these together, but we're not going to make a half square triangle unit. So you're going to want to pay we're going to use these quarter square triangle units to make a half square triangle that'll be put onto the other side of this unit to make a square. Make sense? So you're going to want to pay attention to the layout of your fabric, and I'm going to turn my instructions upside down so they lay this out the way it should look for you. On your left-hand side, you want your fabric D, which for me is this. And you want it to lay so that you have your long edge going from the top, middle, down to the lower left. Yes, just like this. And then lay them both out. You want that long edge to go 45 degrees. And then the other side, you're going to lay out your fabric B. And so you should be building a bigger triangle out of this. So you're going to take your seam right here. Make sure that you are sewing on the right short edge, the right one, because if you sew on the opposite side, you're going to get a mirror image of what you should have. So I'm going to do one. I'm going to make sure it looks correct, and then I will sew the other 2. In fact, I could do all 4 because this is one seam that I could do now and not worry about later. This one says why did we not sew? I'm sorry, you didn't want to sew why? Bobbin thread, work. Thank you. That's what I thought. It said we're going to press this over to fabric B, which is the lighter of the 2. So this is what we should be building. I'm going to turn this around because I am directionally challenged. Make sure that looks right. That is right. Okay, so this is what we're going to build. I'm going to do this 3 more times, put one in the pile, and then the other 2 I'm going to work with. So let me just get this all nice and organized. I'm not going to pick up every piece because I don't want it to all get whoopsie-daisy, loosey-goosey. I'm afraid if I stack them all up, I'll forget which side to sew on. So I'm going to leave them like that, pair them up one at a time, sew, and then grab the next set. If I sign up for the next one in May, when do they start shipping the block of the months? In July. The sign-ups for the fall happen in May, and they start shipping in July. And then the spring ones start selling in December and start shipping in February every year. Bettina said I had to cancel because I just can't afford it. Did you cut these pieces or were they cut for you? These are cut by Cotton Cuts using a die cutting system. So you get all these pieces cut in the mail with your instructions and you just sew them together. No cutting needed. John says, I just received my 3rd block and have yet to begin any of them. Now I'm worried that I'm missing pieces. Listen, I'm going to tell you, it's a thing, right? So I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm not trying to, I'm just being completely honest. You could be missing pieces, and at some point, Cotton Cuts is not going to have this fabric anymore. So if you're getting these puzzle mystery quilts and you're putting them on the shelf to do later, I would implore you, open the package, make sure you at least have all the fabric that you were supposed to have to do it. If you don't, log a ticket on their website, and then when you get your replacement piece, put it in that bag, and then you can put it back on the shelf. But at least that way you know you have the full kit. It would be horrible if you got all of your pieces, put them on the shelf, and then 2 years from now you decide you want to work on it, and guess what? Cotton Cuts doesn't have that fabric anymore, and you don't know what size these pieces are to cut, so you can't even buy the fabric, cut them for yourself. Just check to make sure you have all your pieces before you put it away to do later. All right, square to squares. Flying geese, these things, and those. The next step that we're going to do, which block of the month is this? This is the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Now we're going to take these units that we made, and we're going to take the ones that we sewed together previously. We should have 2 triangle units, just like this, and we're going to sew them together. We want to make sure, well, there's only one way that you can sew it, because I can't sew it like this. I can't sew it like this, and I could sew it like this, but that's the wrong side of the fabric. So there's only one way that you can sew it together. Now, there is a point right here that you might want to try to preserve if you can. And so the way I'm going to do that is put my 2 pieces together. I'm going to sew with this one on top because I can see that X intersection where the threads come together. And as long as I stay just a thread to the right of that when I'm sewing, I won't lose my point. So I'm going to carefully sew along this long edge, keeping the needle just to the right of that X intersection where the point is that I don't want to lose. And if I'm using a consistent seam allowance every step of the way, this should be pretty spot on. Pat says, is that a wool mat you covered? And if so, why did you cover it? No, I did not. It is an ironing board. It is a piece of wood with some batting in it, and I bought it that way. This is my wool mat. Well, you can't see it, but I have a wool mat. Oh, you can. It's over here. This is just a little bit smaller and a little bit more portable, and it's got some air underneath because it's sitting on legs that will allow the heat not to get onto my mat. So I prefer using this when I'm doing live streams, but if I'm sewing on my own, I will get up and use my big pressing mat over there, or I'll use the one off to the side. But during live stream, I usually have to use the table to hold some other stuff. So Teresa says, this is my 5th block of the month from Cotton Cuts. I am doing 2 of the Village Greens this time. I love the block of the month. Me too. Me too. I really do like doing these. They make me happy. I love that the fabric comes cut and you're just ready to sew. By the way, which direction am I pressing this towards? Down towards these units. I pressed this the wrong way. I'm going to leave that one. It'll be okay. Just like that. Now I'm going to press these 2. Hello, Sharon. Welcome to the live stream. Becca, is this my This is my first puzzle mystery quilt. Will they give us birders at the end too? I don't know what you mean by that. Claudia says, I've only done one block of the month club and it was the exact amount of fabric. So if you made a mistake, you were out of luck. I need to try a different one. Yeah, you know, Claudia, I had that happen with a block of the month that I did with a local quilt shop, and I got so disheartened by it that I won't do one with them well, I won't say won't. I haven't done one with them in a while. But I will tell you, and truthfully, I was a new quilter, so perhaps I made a mistake. I don't think I did though. However, I will tell you, y'all, if you have not checked out the Fat Quarter Shop block of the months, the team at Fat Quarter Shop, when they give you the fabric, you have to cut it yourself, but they give you generous cuts, enough to make a mistake a couple of times and still have lots left over. So I stinking love a Fat Quarter Shop block of the month. Absolutely love it. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. The patterns are easy to read. The patterns usually look pretty good, and the cuts are super generous. Hello, Eric Oda. Okay. Now that I have all of these put together, these are the squares that I need. I've got 3 parts, and we're going to combine them together to make a strip. So let me lay out what this will look like. The first thing that we have, I'm going to lay it so that it's facing you the right way. We need our flying geese on the left, pointing to the right. And then we need our square and a square in the middle. And then we need the unit that we just finished putting together over here. So we're going to sew this. Oh gosh, that's so pretty. Oh, so pretty. So this is what we're going to put together. We're going to take this seam and this seam. I'm going to build out one, and then I will build out the other two. And when I do this, by the way, I've got points here that I don't want to lose. I've got a point there that I don't want to lose. So I could take the time to pin this one. I don't know that I'm going to. I'm going to wing it and hope for the best, because I already know there are parts of my quilt where I'm going to lose my 1/4 of an inch. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to lose my point. My pieces are the right size. I'm just going to hope that my seam allowance being consistent will preserve as much of those points as possible. And you can see right here, this one's almost perfect. This one is chopped off just a little bit, but when I step back and take a look at it after it's quilted and washed, because it's going to be a quilt that I use, it's not going to be one that's going to be entered in a show, I can promise you that. But this one, you don't even see that, so it's going to be okay. All right, so we've got that one. Now we're going to pull this one. And we're going to sew here, sewing with the point wrong side up on that square and a square, so I can monitor where that X is and stay just to the right of it. And then just like that, that's what we're building. We're going to do this 2 more times. And it says that all of this, the seam should press out away from this square and a square unit. So I am going to finger press these to lay out to the sides. Finger pressing batiks is always nice because they want to lay a little bit flatter when you finger press than just printed cotton does. Okay, we're going to press this out away from that square and a square. I'm going to grab this other piece. Ooh, do you see how these are kind of askew? I do think I'm going to take a minute to fix that. That's just something that I want to do for me. You don't have to. I'm going to try one more attempt to get those points to kiss, even if I end up chopping off a point. If it doesn't work out, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and we're going to go with it. So I'm going to line this up a little bit better. Okay. Try it one more time. If it doesn't meet, you know what? Just want to check If it was good enough to rip, it's good enough just to poke a pin in it and see how the points are actually lining up. Right? I agree, Becca. Thank you. Thank you. You're so kind. Hold on. Right here. I got lucky on the first one, but I don't want to get lucky on the second one. I want it to work. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, much better. That's going to be a better point, though we'll find out in a minute if it's perfect. I don't always, even when I pin, get perfect points, so don't let that fool you. Like, you can pin and pin and pin, and sometimes you still don't have it dead on. What stitch length are you using? 2.0. Yeah, it's closer. Still not perfect, but it's closer than it was. What is happening? All right. And then after I take these two seams, we will have our 3 units for the block of the month put together. Oh, that one's off. Same thing. I want the points to kiss each other. I don't want to kiss a forehead. I want the lips to touch. Are the flying geese on wrong? No. Yes. All that, and I was doing it wrong. I made my own design. Leave me alone. Thank you for catching that. I told you I'm directionally challenged. Is anybody else laughing right now? Because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. This would be the point where if I wasn't on a live stream, I would just walk out of the sewing room. I want it to go like that. And that. VR says, I love live bloopers. And Tana said, it did not look right. Sorry. Thank you. No, hey, listen. I'd rather find the mistake now than opposed to when I'm laying out all the clues and putting everything together at the very end. It's easy to fix now. Frustrating? Sure. Easy to fix? Yes. And oh, by the way, I only have 1 point to worry about now, so we're just going to worry about the one. Oh, good grief. Oh, good grief, Charlie Brown. Okay, there. This is what you're building. Oh, look, it's like a parentheses. Do that. Do what I'm supposed to do. Don't do what I did. Anne Marie said we need Laura Lynn's Seam Ripper song. Hopefully she'll be feeling better in no time flat and able to sing it for us. I think we're all excited for the day where she has to grab for the Seam Ripper again, right? There we go. There's more, but my brain is really fried right now. All right, let's do this one. Yes, much better. Thank you, Donna. Oh, good grief. I was kind of hoping you were making a fish. All right. There we go. Hello, Melster. There we go. So now we have our 3 of our 4 units. This is what they should look like when they all go together. Let me turn everything so it's facing me. Yes, okay, that's correct. Now I'm going to give these a hot dry press with my iron. Wait for that to heat up. Okay. I'm going to press these from the back once. There it is. It's nice and hot. Only because I have the seams turned the wrong way from my fun time with my seam ripper. There we go. Just like that. Just like that. Here we go here. And there we go there. And then this way. Becca, are you going to teach another class with Soya? Yes. Yes, I am. I have my eyes set on a class that I would like to do in May, and it is on my list. I'm going to work with Mary to find a date on my calendar that works. And hello, Shirley. And I'm leaning towards maybe something with a double wide Dresden. So, yeah. All right. So these are what our clues look like when they're all put together. That's it. And then I have my miscellaneous pieces that I would have had put into this as well, but I'm missing that square. So I'm just going to kind of keep everything nice and tidy all together so it's there when I'm ready to pull it. And then I like putting it all inside the sheet of paper so I know what clue it is. Okay, just like that. So that's my clue, and we have a half an hour. So let's have some coffee and have some chat. What questions do you have? And we'll also do a little bit of show and tell in about 10 minutes. 7 actually, maybe 10 or so. We'll do a little bit of show and tell. I'll show you guys what we have been working on, or what everybody else has been working on. So what questions do you have? I'll just sit here and stare politely at the computer until I see questions come through. I forget. What is your favorite Aurifil color, thread color for piecing? Well, ironically, I just switched to a 2600, which is Dove Gray on the machine. This, I actually do really like piecing with this one. It works for top stitching. It works for piecing. It works for quilting. Normally what I use is 6722, which is like a cream color for my piecing. If I need like a white, that's my go-to. And then if I need something dark, I use 2625. 2600, I had a couple of spools of this and I just figured I'd grab it and get it through. Let's see, what else do we have in the question? How is your legit kit going? It's going fabulously. And I realized after I recorded my vlog and edited it and posted it, guess what? I forgot to show you the progress. So make sure to tune in on Tuesday. You'll get an update on that. What starch do I use? I use Best Press exclusively. I vary between the different scents and I do buy it by the gallon. It's my go-to. I've never tried anything else. This is just what I used when I first started sewing, and it's what I keep using. Someone asked earlier, why don't we hear your sewing machine? It's because of two reasons. The first reason is because of the type of mic that I'm using. It is a lapel mic, and it is what they call a directional mic. So it's picking up the sound that is coming towards it instead of an omnidirectional mic, which picks up all of the sound in the room. It prioritizes what's coming out of my voice. But then additionally, I have some software that's running on my computer that helps prioritize my voice over machine noise. And so you'll hear background noises reduced or not at all. What is your favorite quilt block? I am a sucker for anything that looks like a star. Just am. How many full quilts do you do each year? I don't know. But I will tell you, I feel like this year I am shaping up to do more than I have any other year. And I think a lot of that is because of the help that I'm getting from my friend Mary, the organization that she has helped put in place for me, and then just staying focused, keeping my eyes on the prize. Those weekly vlogs are making it so that I can share content with you, but also allowing me more time to create and less time to not create. As I'm sure all of you know or have heard us say, when I put out a 15-ish minute tutorial video where I'm walking you through every single step and I'm teaching you how to do something, that block that may have taken me 30 minutes to put together takes me about 2 hours to sew and record. And then I've got to go through and edit that down. That takes more time away from the projects that I could be creating. So 2023 for me is all about the goal this year. The theme this year is about finishing projects. And so I'm trying to prioritize more time sewing, less time not sewing. And those vlogs are really helping me with that. Let's see. Jean says, my new favorite notion is Clover's folding fabric pen. It's a solution that you run on the seam and it helps you turn the cloth, especially if you have a lot of seams. I wonder if it's the same thing as the Acorn Precision piecing product or easy piecing pen. I'll have to take a look at that. That's awesome. Let's see. Let me go up here. She has technology to block that out. Yes, that's correct. Make sure I didn't miss any of these. Miss Becca, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm excited. Awesome. Anybody that wants to meet me Sunday evening in Detroit, email me, becca@sewbecca.com, and I will work to get you all the details. I will coordinate it with my mom. It'll be sometime around dinner time on Sunday night. I just don't know the location. More details to come. How many full? I answered that one. Debbie Dunn said, I love that color. I use that one, a cream and a black, depending on what I'm piecing. Becky Bramlett says, has Beetlejuice calmed down since you got the new puppy? Yes, actually. He still gets excited when there's new people, new dogs, new smells. And if I'm being completely honest and transparent with you, those that are close to me, those folks that I let into the non-YouTube Sew Becca, like let into my day-to-day, I struggle a little bit when things are chaotic. And one of the things that brings chaos to me is when I'm playing host in my home and there's lots of chaos happening. It drains me and stresses me out. I like having things predicted. I like having them planned. I like having, it's not playing host. I don't like it when things don't go the way I had them planned to go. And so that's what ends up stressing me out. So Sunday, on Easter Sunday, when we adopted the puppy, it was a hard day for me because we had lots of people, lots of energy in our home. I loved having everybody there, but it was a lot of things. Beetlejuice was super hyper because there were extra puppies in the home. There were extra people in the home, and he just wanted to play. And when he gets excited like that, I can't get him settled down. And then his excitement, his energy causes me to get a little chaotic too. And so we kind of feed off of each other. But he's doing amazing. And even before we got the second puppy, Beetlejuice has been starting to calm down when home is normal, when everything is even. Mary can talk to you about this. She has seen it firsthand as well. When she's over, when she first shows up, he gets really excited. But then after she's been here for a little while, he's like, okay, that's Mary. And he calms down, and he is so much easier to be around, and he'll start to listen. But when he's excited, there's no listening whatsoever. So has the dog settled Beetlejuice down? I believe in some ways, yes, because what I'm seeing with Beetlejuice now is when I take them outside to do their business, Beetlejuice is very attentive to what the little puppy is doing. He cares about where that dog is, what he is doing. He's being productive. He's playing big brother to him, which I find absolutely adorable. And so I don't have to worry about him wandering as much or fighting as much because he's focused on that puppy. So yeah, I think that answered that question for the most part. Have you heard anything on the monthly Legit Kit, the Legit Kit block of the month? I know it is in testing and details will be released very soon. That's all I've got for you. Once I know something, I promise you I will let you know. Chris says, I have 2 Legit Kits that I purchased at AQS in Branson, a little intimidated by the smaller parts. Just breathe. You want to know my favorite tool for Legit Kits? Donna from Handmade by Ying showed me this. It's literally, this is a wooden mallet that I use to crack crabs. But when I get those bulky seams, hammering them with a mallet or a wooden seam roller or something helps. And then also this precision pen, applying this to your seams helps get them super flat. So combination of banging the heck out of your seams and putting starch on it through a water pen that allows you to apply liquid to very specific parts is amazing. Last I heard, we're talking about Laura Lynn. She had a blockage. Yes. Hold on. Let me scroll back up. There are more questions. Are you, boy, be your text? Okay, hold on. I talked for too long. Now there's lots of questions that I missed. I'm just going to scroll through. Yes, last I heard about Laura Lynn, she had a blockage. They're working on that. Okay. Erica says, new Maryland quilter. Hey, neighbor. Do you ever get tired of a fabric once a project is completed, even if you really liked it? Yes, all the time, literally. So I'll start off a project. I'm like, I love this fabric. It's so gorgeous. And then you start working with it. You're like, it's pretty. I like it. And then you're like, it's all right. And then by the time I'm done with that project, I'm like, I don't want that fabric in my studio. Get it out. I'm done with it. I do keep all of my scraps when I'm working with a project because I never know what's going to happen as I'm making the quilt. And I don't want to have to go out and buy that fabric over again. And sometimes it's out of print. I might not be able to. So I keep all of my scraps when I'm making a quilt. And every time I swear to you, I do this all the time. I pick a fabric that I love because why else would I make the quilt? I don't want to make a quilt with fabric I don't love. I want to make it with the fabric that I love. So I pick fabric that I love. I start putting the quilt together. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. I can't wait to use all of the scraps to make a beautiful after quilt. Trademarked, probably not, but Karen Brown taught me about the after quilt thing. You'll have to check that video out. She uses her scraps to make pieced backings. I saw that video years ago and I have only done it once. But I always have these intentions that I want to use the scraps to make a second quilt with the same fabric or an after quilt to put on the back. And then by the time I get the quilt top done, I have a big bag of scraps of that same fabric and I send them out the door because I have made a quilt with the fabric. I don't need to have 2 quilts with the same fabric. I'm ready to move on to something else. It's like a palette cleanser. Brenda says, boy, you're tech savvy. Yes, I am. Tracy said, I made 64 granny squares. I need to figure out how to make them the same size as I switched feet. My 1/4-inch seams aren't the same, making my blocks different. Any ideas on how to do this? I don't have an answer, but maybe somebody in the chat does. Linda Frederick says, are you in touch with Tiffany? How is the family? Yes, I am. They're doing as good as could be expected. I covered a lot of this back at the beginning of the video. I hate to say go back and rewatch the beginning, but go back and rewatch the beginning because I don't want to go over all that again. Twizzlers or popcorn, Quiltessa? Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. Okay, if I'm going to the movie theater, it's popcorn. If I'm going to the movies, it's popcorn. And I haven't been to the movies in a long time. I feel like I need a movie night. Anyway, if I'm going to the movies, it's popcorn. But if I'm in my sewing room and I just want a sweet treat, Twizzlers. I love the bite-sized ones and the soft ones, and I also like the pull and peel. But always, always, always the red Twizzlers. I don't like black licorice. Are you doing the Fat Quarter Shop's Mystery Block of the Month 2023? Yes, I am, Jewel. Louise says, do you loan Mary out? I don't think Mary's not my personal property. She's my friend that I worry does too much for me. I always feel bad about that because I want to prioritize. I don't want her to feel like she has to do things for me, and I don't want her to ever feel like I'm taking advantage of her. So I will tell you, I don't own Mary and I can't loan her out. What Mary does is what Mary does. Mary's a grown woman. She can choose what she does. But yeah, you made me laugh. What is your favorite dessert? Ooh, I love caramel. Anything with caramel on it. Gwen says, I watch lots of quilters on YouTube. How come I can't hear your machine? Because I use technology to silence the machine and prioritize my voice. I just talked about that. Heather says, we can pay Mary in fabric. Listen, you guys got to talk to Mary about hiring her. I can't lend her out. That's on Mary. Pam says, I'm still working on rearranging my sewing room. Looks like a bomb hit it. Oh no. Hello, Sharon. Linda says, don't forget to look up grippy spray for your rulers. Pricey, but my rulers don't slip anymore. Awesome. I have not looked that up. I completely forgot about it, if I'm being completely honest, but the Quilter Select doesn't need that spray for the back of it. But maybe I could look at it for the Creative Grids ones. Catherine said, so yeah, I was doing a quilt donation request. It's for hospice care of nurses, EMTs, etc. that are in wheelchairs. Will go to others depending on volume of donation, specific sizes required. Okay, great. I'll look that up and I'll share it on my community page and we'll do a blog post for it too. Do you have fabric? Oh, I already answered. Oh, do you have fabric you just don't want to cut? Gwen says. Yes, but I cut it anyway because I feel like the fabric is going to look prettier and be more appreciated in a quilt than it will folded up on my shelf. What you can't see along the top of my shelf are several fat quarter bundles that are straight from the manufacturer. They're fat quarter bundles that like Moda or Riley Blake package with the ribbons on them. They're all along the top of my shelves, not all the way across, but the majority of the way across. And those are probably the bundles that I just haven't found a project for. It's not that I don't want to cut into it or I can't cut into it, because I really try very hard to embrace, I will appreciate it more in a finished quilt than on my shelf. So that's my, ooh, Sister Chicks. I know Di. Hi, Di. Do you use the same color thread for piecing with all colors of fabric, or do you use matching thread? I always use the 67, whatever it is. I always use the same color. It's just easier. Hi everyone, joining rather late. Oh gosh, chocolate Twizzlers are awesome. I haven't tried them yet. Have you made any of the Cotton Cuts blocks of the months that come with the extra clues? No, I have not. I'm doing Bliss Socialites too. Scrappiness is happiness, and I'm behind on all of them. That happens to me too. I haven't seen the chocolate one. Okay, we're talking about that. Becky says, I have the Moda Balboa layer cake and 3 charm packs that I haven't gotten the nerve up to use yet. Oh my gosh. I have a fat quarter bundle of that, and I absolutely love it. If I were to pick one line that I just haven't cut yet, but I'm dying to cut into, not scared to, not don't want to, not won't, but I'm just waiting for that I'm eager to use, and I'm looking for that perfect project for it, it would be Balboa. I love Balboa. How do you quilt a 9 patch? There's lots of ways to do that, Dorothy. So You could do just your standard crosshatch. You could do straight line quilting. You could do a number of things. I don't have a set pattern that you would use for a 9 patch. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. We have cinnamon apple caramel cheesecake at work. We went to Cheesecake Factory on our anniversary, and they have a caramel apple cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory, which is my favorite right now. Favorite New Kids song, Anne Marie wants to know. I don't have to have just one. Why can't they all be my favorite? Boom. Carolyn says, beginning of May will be a new book club movie. Saw the trailer today. It looks good. How is your line work going? I was so inspired. I bought a layer cake. Okay, two different things there. The line work is not really gone. I've not really done any hand embroidery, but I want to. And so this next week, I talked about this on my vlog on Tuesday, I will be taking hand embroidery with me so I can still be creative and do some fun things with fabric and thread, even though I'm not taking my sewing machine. My line work project will be one of the things that I take with me. I'm super excited to make some progress on that. And I hope when I come back in the vlog that I post for you, I'll be able to show you some fun hand embroidery projects that I made progress on. Who makes Balboa? Sherry and Chelsea, Brenda. It's designed by Sherry and Chelsea for Moda Fabrics. It's a couple years old, but you can find it, I am sure, on Etsy if you wanted to get that. AM Joy says, I am a new quilter. What do you do when the thread runs out in the middle of piecing or quilting? Unstitch, tie a knot, and restart near the knot? Yeah. I don't know if what I do is correct. If I am piecing, I just sew right over it. So if I get halfway down the seam and I run out of thread, I thread the machine and I just go back a few stitches or an inch and I just run right over that stitching again and I just continue on. Now, if I'm quilting and my thread or my bobbin runs out on the long arm, I will pick out a few stitches, pull up the bobbin thread, tie off, and then continue on. That's what I do. Susie says, our slices of cheesecake are twice as large as the Cheesecake Factory, but cost less. Oh, you're in New York? Okay. New York style deli. The owners are from Long Island. Susie, we're going to talk in Vegas. Yes, we are. Confident Quilter, Gladys, says, I just started a quilting channel. Any advice? Make sure you love what you do and you're not doing it to make tons of money because YouTube does not pay you. So... I'm sorry. That was funnier in my head. Make sure that what you're doing, you love doing. Make sure you love creating. Make sure you like creating quilts and you like creating video content for it. And as long as you do, then you're going to enjoy the channel. And that's really all you can do. Specifically, if you're looking for specific advice for the channel, there's so many ways I could go with that question. So if you have something specific, ask, I'll tell you. And if one of my moderators are in the chat and would Sally, I see you. If one of my moderators are in the chat, if you can grab the Confident Quilters, you know what? I think I can do it because I'm just sitting right here. Go to channel. I'm going to do you a solid right now, Confident Quilter. I'm going to paste without any context because I don't have my keyboard handy. I just pasted your channel link in the chat, so if people want to check out your content, they can click on it, go over there, and if they like what they see, they can give you a subscribe. New channel, don't be in a big hurry. I will tell you, like, if you want to see growth on your channel, it's all about feeding the beast, making sure that you're getting out routine content in a regular schedule and you're staying current and in the algorithm, because if you're not doing that, then YouTube isn't going to recommend your video. You're not going to get in front of other people. You're not going to gain subscribers. You're not going to get the engagement. It's all about feeding that beast. Right. Sally. Hi, Sally. Do you watch The Farmhouse Fixer? Yes, I do. She said, I came across this show and I love it. It's funny because my stepdad loves that show. He watches it all the time. So last meet and greet I did with New Kids on the Block, I went up to John. I was like, my dad loves your show. I don't know if that's exactly what he expected to hear, but yes, I do watch that show. I love it. It's great. And also, he's on Rock the Block too. Christina and John are doing Rock the Block this year, I think. Christina from Farmhouse Fixer, I think that's her name. And then I think he did he did guest appearances on Rock the Block with Jordan last time. So really good. Hi, Karen. Hello, hello. Eric says, I'm feeding the beast. Yes, that beast was hungry when I first started. Yes, it was. Yeah, it still is, right? Like the bigger you get, the more you have to do. So just kind of keep all that in mind. All right, we've got about 5 more minutes. Any other questions? Oh, Lori says, Susie, where are you located? I love cheesecake because Lori, Auntie L Handmade is in Vegas as well. Our treasured home says, everyone have a great weekend. God bless and stay safe. All right. Is Donna live yet, I wonder? Oh, look, I just subscribed to the Confident Quilter. You're welcome, Gladys. Clicked. Ching! Check. Sheila says, okay, but this is their first year to play on a private team. There are 12. Oh, I don't know what we're talking about, Sheila. I'm sorry. Think Media. Yes, Think Media is amazing. I will highly recommend them as well. I watch a lot of their video tutorials for things to help me. So definitely. Hello, Eva. Eva. Becca, praying for safe travels for you. Thank you, Nancy Jean number 2. I'm attempting to make a t-shirt quilt. Pain in the caboose. I agree. Jewel says, pictures. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll end the live. Let me go over to my screen share. You can see I'm watching the chat here. So now we'll click over. I'm going to refresh. Let's see what y'all have been working on for the last 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll end the live stream. You guys can go hang out at Donna's if you would like to. So I'm going to come down here. I will change this to new posts so that we can see what y'all have been working on. The first one is from Pam Lacey. She says she gifted this quilt to her friend. She was so surprised that she couldn't talk. It was so fun. She is the one in the middle. Laura Baker made this casserole carrier yesterday at a gathering at the library. I still need to do some light quilting and don't look too close. Haha. But it was a fun project and I may make more as gifts. Bill says, I do like the brown. I'm leaving it. Okay. I don't have a problem with the brown. Oh, here's why. So I put this here to say, I saved the block, but yes, that's a red wine spots on my project board. Fabric saved though. LOL. It looks like not red wine. Oh, wow, Carolyn. My newest quilt, done. It's a birthday present to my friend of 50 plus years. Lori says, enchanting 3-yard quilt by the Fabric Cafe, African print, batik, in a Michael Miller cotton. Claudia Pipe Simpson, another block done for my grand blessing, making blocks to match her costumes. Very pretty. I'm going up. Was this from 11 hours ago? I think so. Cross grain, Biasca. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to refresh the page, see if there are any other pictures that came in. Oh, wow. And Thea's making progress on her legit kit. This is the frog. Super cute. I love those colors, the bright greens. That's one I've been thinking about doing too. Oh, Balboa! This, I believe, is either Balboa or Seashore Drive, but it is Sherry and Chelsea for sure. I want to say this is Seashore Drive. Kathy Ann has 3 of the 4 are pieced. Then to cut them in half and put them back together, there are 25 5x5 squares. I think that's Seashore Drive. We saw that one already. Let's refresh. Oh, man, my nose itches. Must mean I'm going to kiss a fool. Felice Naomi Waters is working on my table runner that I made in your class. I'm so glad. Glad you're getting that quilted. And Janine has her Bargello finished. Look at that beautiful beauty. I don't, words, whatever. Lily says, I'm working on my tumbling blocks baby quilt. You know, I've not done one of those and I really want to. They look like a lot of fun. And then I think I already showed this one, so we'll refresh again. Wow, Lucy is doing that. That's what Lucy is doing. Yes, okay. Nice, Lucy. Bettina is working on her Tranquility quilt from Missouri Star. Lots of beautiful blues and purples and butterflies. I see those. Refresh again. And I think that's it. So with that being said, it is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to end the live stream here. I'm going to hop over to Donna's and see what she's up to. I don't know how long I'll stay up, but I'm going to head out and do some other things, not on camera. Maybe I'll work on some legit kit stuff. Thank you, friends, for hanging out with me this Friday. Don't forget, next Friday, April 21st, I will not be live, but I will return to the airwaves the weekend after that on Friday, April 28th. Donna will be live next Friday, April 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're looking for somewhere to hang out next Friday, go over to her channel. I'm going to spend some much needed time with my friend Tiffany and Eric in Vegas next week. So I'll see you guys all later. And by the way, Anna Sunflowers, thank you so much for subscribing. I'll see you guys all Tuesday for the vlog, Friday for the live stream. Bye.